So this is in the Brisbane Entertainment Center itself, right? This is from the venue itself.
My favorite.
And this person says, people are not aware of AEW in Australia whatsoever. Hilarious. To be frank, they're holding a major POE here. Crikey, dingo, shrimp on the bob. And then, so it says AWE Grand Slam. This is in the place itself.
Oh,
the graphic says AEW, and someone there made a typo. AWE Grand Slam coming to Brisbane. And this is terrible when it's already not selling well. You know what I mean? And they had to move the venue, etc. Another tragic botch on their end. And kind of funny because just what people from Australia have told me who listen to this show and that you see that, like, I follow on Twitter and stuff. If you look around, what they all say is there's no awareness of AEW. No one knows what it is in Australia, and WWE's pretty hot. So I don't know, man. Just another hilarious. I mean, that's out of their control, but whoever works there either trolled and is a wacko, is a WWE wacko, or they just don't know. And they're like, WWE? No, AEW. And then the guy's like scratching his balls. He's programming the sign. He's like, AWE Grand Slam? Huh, never heard of that. You know, so yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on this? Is this a big deal too? That's the main question. Like, people are laughing at this. People are going, dumbass, it's probably a typo. They already sold 10K tickets. Why does the 10K tickets, is that an L? Sorry, I jumped the gun here. That's what I want to ask you guys too. Is the 10K ticket sold an L? I know just saying, oh, we sold $1 million doesn't mean, because if you have to sell 5,000 tickets to make $1 million because you're gouging customers, that doesn't really mean much, but it is cool, I guess. But $1 million, okay, that's like a third of Moxley's salary this year. One wrestler, that's like a third of his salary, let alone each Buck, let alone Omega and Jericho and everyone else. And I've said that a million times, but with them selling 10K tickets and the show's like, what, 8 months out or whatever, that's pretty cool.
Like
but
2 months out. It's in February.
I doubt they'll sell 20K, but like, it's not this huge W either to where the sickos need to get all sick and wacko about it. But I want to hear MJ and Dose's perspective, because you guys are much smarter than me on these topics. So what do you first off make of this little typo? Is it a big deal? And like, is the 10K a big deal? And I guess we can start with Dose.
It's probably a typo. Is it a big deal? Not if they fixed it promptly. If it's been sitting like that for days, yeah, it's a big deal. And it's not a little deal either. That is so little brand recognition, even within the facility that's hosting it. But remember, this isn't the original facility. So the whole thing is an L, because originally it was supposed to be in like a 40 or 50,000 stadium. And then they made the right decision to move it to a smaller place. Instead, what they should have done is just cancel it, because the travel and the visas and the logistics and the lodging and everything of getting to Brisbane, which is not an easy place to get to from the United States, of moving probably 150 people there, meaning wrestlers and staff and people are going to be in run-ins and backstage segments and people you're going to pretend you're sending out to promote and whatever it is. All of those costs for what is now a 13,000 seat venue, which, if past performance is indicative of future, 15 to 25% of those will be given away for free, and a bunch of others are going to be steeply discounted. So it's an L any way you look at it, but I'm going to give them a W for mitigating the losses and moving to the smaller facility.
Yeah.
10,000 in the stadium was a giant L. 10,000 in the arena is not. But choosing an arena on literally the other side of the world and all of the costs and logistics and things involved in it was an uncalculated risk. I would like to say it was a calculated risk, but Tony doesn't. He just does things. He doesn't calculate. He just does. He just thinks everyone.
Yeah, I do great things. I do great things, Dose. It's great. Everything I do is great. Okay.
Where's your thing that goes, the best guys, Tony Khan?
Oh, buddy, is that all you have to do was ask?
The best guys, Tony Khan.
There it is.
So that's all I just. I mean, it's not the biggest deal, AWE, but it is in a picture. It tells you all you need to know about AEW.
Yeah, dude. AWE tells you all you need to know about AEW. MJ, your thoughts on all this?
So, like, what happens when they catch wind of this? Do they pick up the phone and call the venue and say, like, hey,
Well,
why
I
is
already
this
did.
happening?
Yeah, I called him and I was like, hey,
Okay.
Steve, you change that sign right now. I swear to God, I'll tell my dad. And we'll never come back to this again.
And in reality, like, so they're advertising Toni Storm as her old gimmick. Like, if you look at the graphic, they did provide the venue. And I say all this because is it in their control, out of their control? They clearly are not providing necessary updates to the graphics or promotional materials. Is it an L that they did 10,000? No, I would actually argue the 10,000 is pretty impressive. The problem is you tried to do this in a stadium and you got run out of it. So, like, you automatically took the L, and now 10,000 is just getting made fun of. This is just more of AEW, like, bad PR and bad publicity.
Yeah.
But they can't stop it. And you know what? It is funny. So it's not the fans' fault for laughing or people online's fault for laughing. They just have to figure out how to stop these things from happening, and they can't.
George popped me with this AWE Shockwave.
Oh, Shockwave.
Oh, Shockwave. Meltzer's favorite show?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Shockwave. Oh, that's great stuff. LOL, it's just a typo. We know, dude. That's what we said. But we're talking about how it's a W for 10K tickets, but you know,
I don't know if it really is though, because people in Australia will travel within the country to do something. You know,
well,
AEW has no presence there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So someone pointed out in chat that they are on ESPN Plus in Australia, something nobody watches there, and apparently, well, not apparently, just think about this objectively. There'd be more than 10K people who flew in from around the world to go to WrestleMania.
Oh yeah,
no,
for sure.
Is that too many?
Yeah,
over 10K.
When they started this whole thing, like all in one was 10,000, and that was considered a success. So yeah. The company, while it had tons of opportunity, potential, promise, they're back where they started, and I think we should appropriately keep the goalposts at that point.
A WWE house show outperforming an AEW pay-per-view, the same market on the same night after AEW spent a year adding free agents and pushing ex-WWE talent has not been talked about enough. And you put a little graph together. I'm not sure if there's been an update on any of this. This is 5 days ago. However, just bring us up to date on your data on all of this. And we have the WWE Holiday Tour in Orlando at the same time right now. It's like going on right now as World End starts, as Welcome to the Jungle plays. And AEW's house show in Orlando has outdrawn World's End, the AEW's pay-per-view on the same night, which is tonight. Bring us up to date on that and break that all down. And is that still true? Did AEW catch up? Did out of nowhere 1,000 tickets got sold last minute? You know, wink, wink, tap, tap. Or
so I had put out an update. This is the updated one that I had done. They obviously, I don't have the final one yet. I will post that during the show tonight. My understanding is that the house show did over 8,000. And AEW has crossed 6,700. So it pretty much holds, right? So I'll just do some loose math here on the air. 8,000 plus 6,700.
Boom, you're getting it live, baby, live, baby, live. Carry the 4, add the 6.
Yeah, so I mean, it pretty much stayed the same. AEW closed the margin a little bit, but again, this is a house show, and AEW has invested so much money in bringing in talent that otherwise, once upon a time, was on the WWE house show. So the fact that they haven't caught WWE in the same market on the same night for a pay-per-view, this is direct competition. Dose and I talked the other night, like this is in the same market. You're competing for the consumer's money. The whole point of running a wrestling show is to generate revenue and entertain the fans. Fans are choosing to go somewhere else. I will say 6,700 is pretty in line with what I have been projecting. My initial projection when they were at like 4,500 was that they would do over 6,000. I think I had 6,400 and they got to that. I know you mentioned it earlier, but it looks like a recent update is 6,700, which I had pegged at a pretty high percent. AEW forecast is getting very, very tight in the models, and it's going to make for an interesting 2025 when AEW Rev Tracker goes live.
a little piling on here.
Yeah.
And I know it feels like I'm on a team, and I sort of am, but it's a reality.
Are you on a team with Giannis and Tatakampu?
I don't know who those people are, but yes.
Sorry, Dose. Anyways, go ahead. I got to get the joke in somewhere.
It was funny. It was a good one. The WWE product right now that they're selling is doubly diluted. It's one, diluted because it's the holiday times, and a lot of the talent has time off, especially some of their top tier talent. And two, there's another house show in Baltimore, so the rosters are split as well. So it's less. There's less of a talent pool there. And by the way, the show in Baltimore, the Holiday House Tour house show, also sold over 8,000 tickets. And last I saw, it was about 8,400 tickets to the Orlando show, and it was like 6,711. And both is distributed. I said sold for WWE; it's distributed for them as well. I mean, so I may suspect that AEW distributes more for free or strong discounts, but I don't know that for certain.
Yeah. Well, you're making the show a few times here, WrestleGraphs. Yeah. So here was this is Garcia and Fletcher.
Oh God. Fighting.
This is on Dynamite or Rampage or Collision, whatever show. They had a bunch from the Hammerstein, and just watch this, man. And like, this is pretty sweet if this was like a WrestleMania moment or something, but this is crazy to just do. And this isn't going to get over doing this stuff to Garcia boys. I just don't know what to tell you. I'm going to tell you forever, for years now. Anyways, let's look at this. Look at and I'm going to leave it small. I don't want to get Don Stevens. Sorry, that Observer guys thing. Let's just play it again. Watch how this fool ends. Like,
Jesus.
And he's rocked for sure. And that's cool, but I mean, look at Ospreay and everyone saying they got to slow down. You look at Ibushi saying his legs are going to fall off. Kenny's falling apart. It's like, at what point do you just realize it's not going to get you over doing that?
By the way, Daniel Garcia has had a broken neck from a car accident.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I was I was just thinking, like, wasn't he the one who broke his neck? Was what I was going to say. So you confirmed it. Thank you. I thought that's what it was.
And that's what I mean, man. Why allow a guy to do that to you? Unless, like, I get putting it all on the line for, let's say, a WrestleMania moment or something like that. But just at a random Rampage or whatever, like a show that's going off the air or whatever that was, it's not worth it, Garcia. And it's not going to get you over. It's not going to get you more over.
No. Yeah, WWE is selling pile drivers. One pile driver takes out Randy Orton for a time. And
it's just worth more money. Like, they got to learn, like, you'll make more money in the long run that way too. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if they don't sell, what are we supposed to buy?
So the fans once again throw toilet paper at Ricochet. So we got I don't know if you guys have been chronicling this. We have another Ricochet meltdown on social media as well that we're going to talk about in just a moment. Dose and MJ, have you guys seen the toilet paper ring of Ricochet that's been going on? I assume you have. It's been all over socials.
I watched Collision live. Well, no, not live, on slight delay, but I watched Collision on Saturday and thought it was fantastic. Like, I thought the environment and the presentation was great. It was energy, and I thought the toilet paper was, like, very funny. Now, I don't know how that. I don't know how, and by the way, like, shout out to the fans. I wouldn't put it past me if it was planted, although that would actually be creative. I just don't know how this plays when they start touring into, like, bigger venues or different places, not Hammerstein, where it's pretty controlled, because it can get very dangerous very quickly.
Yeah, especially people throwing. But people are throwing more rolls at the dude on Dynamite. And then he's catching them, throwing them back.
And this was still in Hammerstein, right?
Yes, it is. But it's like, as soon as that's a battery or something glass, like, that's a
bottle.
problem.
And I mean, they take away the caps of bottles at stadiums to prevent this. And now I think this is going to be something AEW tries to lean into, because they think it's cool, but, like, it was cool for that night or that stretch.
You're goddamn right, it's cool. In fact, it's so cool. We put up a warning sign when fans come in and tell them, if any hits you, it's your fault, okay? I'm tired of being sued.
That's what made me think it was a plant, to be honest. Yeah. You just brought that up. That's
if you get hit by a doorknob, it's your fault. Just to enjoy wrestling, please. Please, I'm begging you. They're gonna kick me off the network. It's great. Okay. Speaking of off the network, according to fans in attendance at today's AEW Dynamite, Tony Khan announced that next week's edition of Rampage will be the last for the foreseeable future, aka forever. And yeah, so it's donezo. We know for sure the last Rampage aired or whatever. Here was the last 5 minutes of Rampage, which if this was the last one or the second last one, the penultimate, whatever. I think this is fan footage, so I'll just play it. What's up, Don Stevens? So let's just yeah, I don't know. They're just killing the show off. The idea is the Bumba Clock Club just explodes everything, ends Rampage forever, and then everyone just brawls, and then the show ends. So I don't know. And I mean, they did have a good house. Like, it was full. Thank God they went somewhere that holds less people. All they got to do is more of this, and try and be innovative. Don't copy WWE's aesthetic with the ring. Don't copy their drone shots, or like copy them for now because it's cool, some of them, but like now get innovative, right? Like, while I've said this a billion times for the last couple of years, while Kevin Dunn was still around in WWE, AEW could have been the ones doing drone entrance shots and all that like that, but they didn't. They were just copying old. They already saw that was bad old, not good old. And so now they're playing catch up again. And that was a way that AEW could have been innovative. Them using the white ropes and trying to trick people who are surfing channels into thinking this is WWE. They need to get away from that. Just make it look different. That's why TNA works. You turn it on, it looks like TNA, right? You turn on, to me, when I turn on AEW, to me, it looks like they're trying to look like WWE, and that's what I don't want. So, yeah, that's just my opinion. But, yeah, they just destroyed the show. Everyone brawled. They came up with at least a little creative kayfabe way to do it, but it was kind of senseless because it was like the Whitepool Combat Club were fighting, and then everyone came out to brawl them, like AEW versus the Bumba Clock Club. And then all of a sudden the AEW people just started fighting with each other too, and it was like, all right. So it was kind of stupid, but at least there's an effort there, and Tony Khan is saying 2025 will be a new beginning or whatever for AEW again, which he's got to watch when he says this, because he said 2024 is going to be the new 2021 for AEW or whatever. But 2024 is kind of like 2021, but 2021 is kind of like 2020, but it's more like 2022, but now it's 2025. Time cop. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The crowd was into it, and I don't know, more brawls and more anything can happen element, and I'm in. Wardlow, though, he'll be making his return to the Indies because he was not in the brawl, speaking of people brawling. And him, just like Ricky Starks in that, he's getting booked on Indies before he's being used on AEW television. They got Orange Cassidy in the main event tonight. That could easily just be Wardlow. You know, especially if people are going to be in it that just don't make sense. Why not someone that people buy into? We have Ospreay bleeding like a stuffed pig. But yeah, Wardlow, I think in 2025, he's going to catch heat for some as well, like Ricky Starks. And we're going to have everyone burying him the way the sickos turned on Ricky Starks. But at least someone's booking him, no?
By the way, if you wanted to make Wardlow a star tonight,
yeah,
he has history with this whole MJF Adam Cole feud. If he were to come out and powerbomb them into oblivion and end this entire storyline, year-long saga, the crowd would go nuts for him because no one wants to see this feud, and he would be the one to kill it. And like, instead he's doing the house always wins, which I thought was Alistair. I thought this was like the House of Black's saying.
Yeah, dude, if Wardlow powerbombed both of those, like the way Stone Cold would just stun her to Wardlow comes in. Yeah,
like
just
repeatedly.
Yeah, powerbombs MJF.
That's the show's name for the indie promotion. Wardlow has nothing to do with the House Always Wins other than he's on the card.
No, I just thought it was noteworthy that they were using the House of Black's thing.
Well, it's in Las Vegas is where he is.
I want to see Wardlow. I want to see Wardlow. I want to see Wardlow come back, powerbomb MJF, powerbomb, and then Adam Cole's like, yeah, man, and then he powerbombs Adam Cole, and then he picks up MJF, powerbombs him, goes back to Adam Cole, powerbombs him,
hits them both at the same time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
each
it would be
so
each
hot.
on one arm. Yeah,
It'd be like the crowd would be literally "Thank you, Wardlow" chanting because this
and then
whole
Roderick Strong
stupid
runs
devil
out.
feud-
Wardlow power bombs him.
The other two guys too. Bring them all out.
I will
Storyline.
tell you what.
Taven gets power bombed out of his
those
little
guys,
gloves.
that's their names.
I'm going to
Take
raise
it
you
better.
all on this. Forget Adam Cole and MJF and all that stuff, because what next? He's just feuding with the same 6 guys in typical AEW fashion. What he should do is they should end this stupid Death Riders Whitepool Combat Club thing, and Wardlow, everyone, they're killing everybody, and Wardlow comes out and kills all 4 of them by himself. The end.
Yeah.
That's the end of the Whitepool Combat Club. It really is a new era.
No,
Love
put
it.
Wardlow and Hobbs together, and then you have, they bring it all together for peace.
Well,
Going into 2025.
I hate getting into like fantasy booking because it can go in so many different directions. But Wardlow was somebody that was organically like super over.
Yeah,
And he also is the kind of guy that if you listen to what Moxley says in his promos, like if he were to destroy that ridiculous storyline with all these power bombs, like he could then be anointed as like, hey, you actually represent AEW by Moxley. And
yes,
his storyline
he's an
could
OG.
progress. It could
He's
progress.
an OG. He's a real guy that nobody knew about. Like, oh yeah, I saw him on MLW. Sure, I know people knew about him, but what I'm trying to say is on the mainstream and what AEW was at the beginning, no one knew Wardlow. We know him as an AEW original. And that they buried him with the whole devil thing, though. I've beat it to death on this show, but yeah, I would love to see him just return, powerbomb everyone,
Cassidy, and just powerbomb all these small guys, and let Moxley put him over and be like, "Hey, this is what we're talking about."
Yeah,
because
Every time
then
he's
you
partnered
made
with MJF in any way, shape, or form, he looks good, and then he disappears. No, I'm going. I like my idea, and clearly you guys all like my idea because you've improved upon it. Are in fantasy booking genius.
Well,
right. We should give ourselves an X-Files.
Be more entertaining than anything they'll actually do.
I always admired how New Japan had the ability to stretch out like feuds across the years. Like guys would match up, and then it'd be like they haven't matched up in a year and a half, and this is what happened last time. Didn't we just get this match as like a 6-star classic like 2 pay-per-views ago?
Pay-per-view? That was the
last pay-per-view.
I think it was the last one. Yeah.
So AEW, going to its inception, was always in this mode of like, we don't do rematches, we don't run back things like so. It is exactly like what WWE used to be, where they are just doing the same matches pay-per-view after pay-per-view. People remember Okada and Omega because it happened like.
Well, they're super wrestlers. Back in, New Japan, actually, the best guys, Tony Khan.
But it was every 6 months you got an installment, so it was memorable. Like these all blur together. Ospreay and Ricochet is remembered fondly, and they're just going to do like 4 versions of it in a matter of 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and it's like, okay, who cares?
Well, speaking of versions, we got a new version of Dave Meltzer. This isn't an official dumb moment of the week. He just updates us on Bandido, who came back and concussed himself after they gave him all of these TV spots with his vignettes there. Meltzer says, we are told Bandido did suffer a concussion Friday night from the landing on the back of his head doing a missile drop kick after the Chris Jericho win over Matt Cardona. Run on sentence just because I can. Tony Khan. So yeah, dude, he suffered a concussion, so he like KO'd himself. We watched it on the show. Terrible stuff. I hope he does well health wise, etc. I love Bandido, but my whole thing is like they played the vignettes on Dynamite over and over and not even like alluding to that it could be tied to Jericho, and then he returns on Ring of Honor Final Battle, and then
he's not going to show up on AEW. Like he's not going to show up on Dynamite to pay off the vignettes that we saw for weeks.
And like this is how they think they're going to get the TV deal for Ring of Honor or whatever they're talking about. Speaking of TV deal and television in general, the AEW Dynamite ratings grinched. So NXT did 723K viewers, 1,000 viewers. You guys know what I'm saying? To AEW's 572 150,000 viewers. Now, different days, different excuses, blah, blah, blah. We all know. I don't know. I want your guys' thoughts on this. And I don't know what the key demo was. I know Meltzer likes to skirt the conversation to that. So I try to break it down and dissect why whatever he's saying, even though I don't give up, is the thing, because we know what Dave really truly thinks, because he said it before. The overall viewership matters. Now that he can't get away with saying that for AEW, now he talks about the key demo. So I don't care for people who want to come in the chat and go, why do you guys care about this? Well, I don't, but Dave Meltzer is trying to use gaslight, so I got to explain to you. Now I got to care about it. You know what I mean? Either way, 723,000. Someone can let me know the key demo on that, to 572. That's an ass whooping. Okay. And I don't know what the key demo was on that either. Sorry, Dose, you go ahead on that, man. What's your thoughts on all that?
Well, it's 150,000 viewership difference, and the key demo difference, NXT did a 0.14 to AEW's 0.18. So the difference is 0.04. So Dave, of course, will tell you that then they won, but I mean, these points correspond to numbers as some sort of percentage of overall viewership. So I don't know what the exact correspondence is, but whatever the difference is between 573 or 572 and 733 or whatever it was of 0.04, you actually got more people in the 723 watching in the demo than the number.
Pause button. AEW won with, if you want to use the key demo, by a 0.04 is the argument Meltzer would make, right? Is what?
Right.
So first off, let me ask you this: who invented that 18 to 49 is the key demo for pro wrestling? Where does that come from?
I mean,
advertising.
It's on advertising, but honestly, I mean, I have actually heard that 25 to 49 is the key demo. That 18 to 24, people that generally think that you just buy the cheapest shit possible. 25 to 49 is when you're adults, young professionals, young families, and you're young enough that you can be convinced to buy different products or try different products. That's the theory. That's all it is. So, I mean, it's overhyped. It's just one column in a spreadsheet, and it often is the first column, which gives you the impression that it's the most important column. But I mean, if you've viewed it and if you've ever looked at any spreadsheets, there's different columns that are of equal importance or greater importance, and it's not necessarily the first. It's oftentimes the last column. In any event, whatever it is, the number that this corresponds to is under 5,000 people for the 0.04 difference. So in that 150,000 larger viewership number, there's definitely more than less than 5,000 people or more than 5,000 people that are in that key demo. So they won. It's not that it's the number of people 18 to 49 or 24 to 20 to 49 or 25 to 49 that they covet. The number is just a clue. And I do feel like I want to back up this. People are like, you're making this up, bro. You don't know. And I didn't know, but I do now. And it's by happenstance, more or less. And because somebody accused me of saying that I was a TV media buyer earlier. I've never said I'm a TV media buyer. Let me be very clear that a former partner in my law firm who's no longer there, he was actually in the running for WWE counsel. He's not with them. He's somewhere else. And anyway, one of his clients was a broadcast media buying trade group for the East Coast. And their conference happened to be in Baltimore. And he knew I was interested in this stuff from wrestling. Everyone in the office knows that because it's weird. There's not a lot of people in a law firm who are wrestling fans and let people know that.
Right.
So he's like, hey, there's a meet and greet at this bar, in where Baltimore meets Baltimore County. I thought of you. Do you want to come? I can bring someone. I'm like, sure. Can I bring my wife? He's like, sure. So we went, met him there, and he immediately, went off to, glad hand his clients. So I mixed and mingled. And who am I mixing and mingled with? Broadcast media buyers. And they represented from, I think, as far north as the Boston area to as far south as Jacksonville. And so I spoke to people in different groups. We talked about, and it was right in the heart of the Wednesday night wars, not even the Tuesday Wednesday night wars. It was still Wednesday night war.
The Tuesday Wednesday night wars.
Right. And they all told me, they're like, yeah, the demo is important, but with numbers that low, it really doesn't matter. Once you're talking about differences of more than 100,000, it starts to matter. It starts to matter less and less.
Yeah. And that's what Dave hitches, to tie this to Dave. That's what he hitches his thing to. Like, well, if it's a high 0.15, like he's literally breaking it down like that. And you're saying, we'll say that's where it matters less and less. Dave is taking that as like subtle W's for AEW or AWE rather. Sorry, go ahead.
Right. He's being disingenuous. But the truth is that there might be advertisers out there that value that more. And those would be advertisers that maybe they would rather advertise on Cartoon Network or Adult Swim than on CNN or a Warner Bros. Discovery Channel after 10. They may value that more, but not. Right. It's not a monolith. But if you've ever watched the commercials during an AEW show and the reruns before, or the movies that they run during preemptions, they're identical. If you watch the commercials during the TNT, NBA on TNT or NHL on TNT, they're half identical. The other half are entirely different. They're like Lexus and Audi, and they're in the jewelry stores and things like that. It automatically goes up to higher price levels.
So MJ, anything to add to that?
No,
what are your thoughts on this rating?
What was the tougher night, Christmas Eve or Christmas?
I don't know. I still drew pretty well on YouTube on Christmas Day, so I can only speak on behalf of myself. I was pretty good on Christmas Day. I'm not going to lie.
I know a lot of people that do stuff like Christmas Eve, dinner, mass, like all that kind of stuff. By Christmas night, I mean, a lot of people got to wake up and go to work the next day. So they're home. And so I would have thought that Christmas night would have been the easier night to draw. And then, there's just a lot of conjecture about which network is stronger or which station is stronger, TBS or the CW. And, I'm partial to saying that I think TBS is more recognizable. The CW is trying to reestablish itself, has a very different audience outside of the wrestling fan on most given days and nights. So, the arrows in terms of like where the tailwinds are all facing AEW, and they're not coming close.
Yeah.
And this wasn't such a bad rating for them. Like, this is in line with their trend. Later tonight, I'm hoping to finish up the year-end monthly averages, and I'm going to try to do a inception to date, kind of the historical trend and support line. Maybe you'll have me back and we can kind of walk through that at some point. Yeah. But if you look at where they've been trending all of 2024 and then historically, they were destined to be in the 500,000s by the end of the year. Dose knows that I was kind of early to modeling that out, and did it at a time when they were still getting 800,000s. And then if you go further, like, this is just a natural progression. So Christmas or not, high 500s is probably a new normal, 600s. And it will trend lower. And I don't think people should be shocked. I think, it is what it is.
Yeah, they're saying in chat there was lots of games on Christmas Day, etc. 25 to 54 in a lot of countries is the key demo. 0.04 is like 1 billion viewers on cable compared to network. Meltzer math.
There were basketball games on Christmas Day. There were football games. I think the football games were largely done by 8 o'clock. And there was the basketball game, which, I mean, they go against NBA all the time.
0.04?
700s and 800s against the NBA. So, like,
0.04 is like 1 billion viewers on cable.
Stupid idiot.